Let's go right to the phones. We got Jeff Jr., founder and CEO of Trajan Wealth, on the phone. Jeff, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Trajan Wealth, of course, is you guys share the fundamentals and are partners with our beloved Dave Ramsey, who's on in the afternoon here.
Yeah, we sure are. We've had a partnership with Dave for quite a few years now, and we're proud to call ourselves a vetted Provester.
So talk about your journey in relation to what you're doing, helping people realize their kind of financial dreams and their success. Talking about what about the Dave Ramsey mindset is something that attracted you, and then how does it guide how you guide people?
Sure. I grew up in northern Wisconsin, a real small town, and one of my first jobs, I was teller at a bank. And that's where I think everything kind of started. I realized how much people needed help as far as finances were concerned. People were coming in and opening up savings accounts and Christmas club accounts and money markets and not really understanding how they worked or even understanding how they balanced the checkbook. And I really always had a passion for it. And then I look at, I think a lot of these large companies these days, and they really have abused the platform that they're on. They take advantage of the unsuspecting consumer in a lot of ways. And, I think one thing that I like about Dave is that he's really kind of no nonsense. He's straight to the point. He'll tell you what's right, what's wrong. There are some things that we don't necessarily agree eye to eye on with Dave, but, we still have the same philosophy, which is really, I say probably 50 times a day that we have hearts of teachers.
Right.
It's our job to teach and educate and really develop a relationship with the client over time that's mutually respected, in that we don't have, we don't sell securities and investments with high commissions and hidden fees and all this garbage I think a lot of people do. And we really are straightforward and develop that relationship over time.
America is so, personally financed, finance undereducated, right? It's not
for sure. Very, very much so illiterate. It's really a shame they don't teach it more in school. But, I just make it my personal mission and our personal mission to do it.
So for Trajan Wealth, and you should follow along at TrajanWealth.com to find out more and contact them. Talk about what is the basics of the Trajan Wealth philosophy when helping people kind of navigate their financial dream that they want to get to.
Sure. I mean, we have a pretty easy process to follow. It's a 3-step process. The first appointment lasts about 60 minutes or less, and it's really just an opportunity to get to know our client, get to know your advisor, and the advisor to get to know you. So, a lot of people have a whole bunch of statements, and they may even keep them in a shoebox. I've seen more times than I can count clients bringing a bunch of statements in their shoebox. And
how many clients, Jeff, have statements that they never opened?
Oh, quite a few. I mean, especially in 2008, right? Nobody wanted to look at their statements, so that's actually pretty common. So we have a mail opener right on the table.
That's your number one buy on your promotional material is the Trajan Wealth letter opener.
Letter opener. That's exactly right. Yeah. And then we'll move to a second appointment, and the second appointment is where we can start making recommendations based on the client's goals. And I think one thing about us is that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. We're completely independent. As far as our recommendations, they're really agnostic, and they're based upon the client's objectives and the client's goals. So,
what are some of the common challenges? I'm going to say this nicely. Some of the common challenges that you see amongst people that you're visiting with and working with?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is really somebody understanding if they have enough to retire or if they're on track to retire. A lot of people just kind of take a stab in the dark and they say, I've got, 200,000 or 500,000 or $1 million or more. And, hopefully that's enough, but they don't take into account oftentimes the impact of inflation, which is the eroding of the dollar over time. They don't take into account the earnings on those investments. And oftentimes I see people, when they enter retirement, they tend to get a little too conservative, meaning their money isn't growing well enough. And then Social Security is a big unknown too. I do believe personally Social Security is going to be around in perpetuity, but when is the best time to file and when is the best time to draw it? You have to make sure that everything is working in accordance in your retirement picture, because the last thing somebody wants to do is go back to work at 75, right?
There's some that are still working past that, sad to say,
Sure,
right now.
sure, absolutely.
There was a Yahoo Money article that just came out recently that's saying that on a survey of a few thousand Americans between 55 and 75, if you take it what they averaged for retirement and how much they expect to spend, the average baby boomer has only 7 years of savings for their retirement.
Yeah, that's probably about right. And that's why it's all that much more important just to start early. I always tell people, some people ask, what is enough to start? And the answer is anything. It's just put a couple dollars in it. It's, my dad taught me very young, always leave a little bit of money in an account because that acts as seed money and it's just easier to add to it. So, we've got a lot of listeners. I know we've got employees that listen to you every morning. We've got a lot of clients that listen to you every morning. And, whatever you have that you can start. And even if you have $100, start with $100 and do it every month. I mean, if you look at the cost of a cup of coffee, it's $5 to $7. I mean, that's a great start to an investment right there, right?
Absolutely. No, you got to have something there to go, because
for sure.
You can't 7% interest on zero is still zero.
That's right. And even if you have, let's say an old 401k, I think what a lot of people do too is when they leave their employers, they have this old 401k and they're not really sure what to do with it.
Right.
And unfortunately, a very high percentage of people actually cash it out. And if they're under 59.5, they're going to pay a 10% penalty on it too, in addition to ordinary income taxes. So that's where we come into play. You can roll those over. We'll help you with the paperwork. You'll completely avoid the taxes. You're not going to have any tax issues because we're going to consider it a rollover. And that can be great seed money for your future retirement.
So if you want to get in contact with the Trajan Wealth team here in Tucson, 321-4100, info@TrajanWealth.com. And, of course, just go to TrajanWealth.com and you will find there's a couple of good local guys here that can help you. So, Jeff Jr., good first interview together. I appreciate it and enjoyed it.
Thank you. I did too. I appreciate it very much.
And let's do it again one day.
Let's do it. Thank you.
All right, Jeff Jr., have a great day. Congratulations. Keep doing the good work.
Thank you.
All right, that's Jeff Jr.